from the News and Current Affairs Department here at Brand Communications Network Incorporated. Welcome to News Run. 45 minutes of news about Liberia and the rest of our global village. My name is Jutonu Kollie with this Monday, April 22, 2024 edition of the program. In our top stories, African Court on Human and People's Rights increases awareness on the significance of the court as a delegation led by its president, Justice Imani Aduth, rallies top officials and human rights actors to ratify protocols for the court's establishment in Liberia.
The African Court aims to be more than a judicial body. It seeks to be a beacon of hope for those who yearn for justice across our continent. We envision a future where every African citizen is aware of his or her rights and empowered to claim them.
President Joseph Newman Boakar hosts Assembly of Members of the House of Representatives aligned with Unity Party's rescue mission and a team of UP leaders and strategists at a one-day executive legislative agenda-setting retreat in Tubman-Burp, Bome County. And also coming up,
It's just working around the clock. We are working with our partners in making sure that our all repair work is done and that we begin again to enjoy the full benefit of what the AS cable provides to Liberia.
Africa goes to Europe cable, Liberia's only source of internet connectivity to be fully restored. Chief Executive Officer Hendrik Benson discloses the team is working assiduously to repair the damages. And away from home, at least 58 people have died in the Central African Republic after the overcrowded ferry carrying them capsized. That is according to officials. Fighting over disputed lines along borders of Europe, of Ethiopia's Tigray and Amhara regions has displaced close to 29,000 people. The United Nations has told the British Broadcasting Corporation. We have our news bulletin, the voices of those making the news in Liberia, and the international developments that are packaged for you on this Monday, April 22 edition of Prime News Run. But first, we'll cross over to our news center, where Trojan Kiazolu is seated with the news bulletin. Good morning, Trojan.
Good morning, Jutonu, and good morning, everyone. The African Court on Human and People's Rights engaged Liberian authorities, civil society, and various stakeholders in the human rights sector as part of its sensitization mission on the significance of the court. The week-long sensitization mission was meant to raise awareness on the works of the court and specifically encourage Liberia to ratify the protocol establishing the African Court on Human and People's Rights. The court's president, Justice Imani Dao Aboud, said the delegation is in Liberia to lobby Liberian key government officials and human rights actors to take a decisive step towards both the ratification and declaration of the court. Justice Aboud reiterated that Liberia has shown profound leadership in fostering peace and promoting democratic values in post-conflict recovery and therefore stands as an example of the infinite development possibilities of the African continent. She, however, called on government and all stakeholders to see the moment as an opportunity to combine efforts with the African Court on Human and People's Rights to create a legacy for the unborn generation. She said in ratification and declaration by Liberia will send a powerful message across Africa that human rights transcend boundaries and that justice knows no borders. Meanwhile, the chairperson of the Independent National Commission on Human Rights, Councillor Dempster Brown, has expressed hope that the government of Liberia will ratify the protocol establishing the African Court on Human and People's Rights to allow individuals and NGOs have direct access to the court. While in Liberia, the delegation visited high-level officials of government, including Vice President Jeremiah Coon, Chief Justice Siane Yo, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Councillor Jonathan Funati Kofa, Ministers of Justice and Foreign Affairs, the Liberia National Bar Association, and other human rights institutions. The executive officer of the Africa Coast to Europe Cable, Liberia's only source of internet connectivity, has assured Liberians and foreign residents that the ACE cable will shortly be restored to its full capacity to provide quality internet in the region. On March 14, 2024, the ACE network experienced serious problems due to what it described as a damage of the submarine Cayon slide which occurred between Abidjan and Dakar, Senegal. The effect swept through several nations throughout West Africa, including Ivory Coast, Guinea, the Gambia, and Sierra Leone. According to Henry Benson, the ACE network operation teams were able to provide limited internet capacity to Liberia through Banjul, the Gambia, to avoid the cable break in Abidjan. Speaking in an interview with journalist CEO Henry Benson disclosed that over the last few weeks, a submarine optical cable repair ship specialized in underwater cable restoration has been working very hard to restore connectivity. Mr. Benson notes that the repair involved highly critical tasks in compliance with industry standards, and the restoration to is full, rather noting that the nation is back to its full capacity. A new company in the health sector, the New Life Group International Pharmaceutical and Laboratory Corporation, has been officially launched in Liberia. Dr. Catherine Thomas Cooper, who proxy for Health Minister Dr. Lois Kpoto, commended the management of New Pharmaceutical and Laboratory Company for investing in the pharmaceutical sector of the country. Dr. Cooper assured the corporation of the Health Ministry's fullest support in ensuring that their investment in Liberia is fruitful. In remarks, the Chief Executive Officer of the New Life Group International Pharmaceutical and Laboratory Corporation, Reverend Seth Taylor, explained that the company will ensure that its supplies reach all regions in the country. According to him, apart from the production of medicines, the company will also engage in constructing and equipping laboratories in health centers across the country. The USAID supported elections and democracy activity implemented by the Democracy International is deploying a 9-member observation mission for the senatorial by-election in Nima County on April 23, 2024. DI will deploy to 6 of the 9 districts and anticipates visiting 12 precincts in Ganta, Ba, Betu, Blantuo, Saklepie, Sanikole, Main, Tapeta, and Wartown, Nima County, as 307,254 registered voters at 262 precincts comprising the 736 polling places. DI's deployment is conducted in close cooperation with observers from the U.S. Embassy, the Electoral Institute for Sustainable Democracy in Africa, ESA, the Elections Coordinating Committee, ECC, and the Liberia Elections Observation Network, LEON. EDA looks forward to contributing to ensure a free, fair, and peaceful electoral process in the upcoming by-elections. The Nima by-election is to fill the position of former Senator Jeremiah Kwan, recently elected vice president. A concurrent by-election in Grangeda County is being held in District Number 1 following the death of Representative Ero Madison Guyon. DI's election and democracy activity is delivering civic voter education through radio, community theater, and community dialogues, with EDA grantees supporting citizens' initiatives for development in Africa in Nimba and their partner, Efficient Research and Development Institute in Grangide. EDA Partner Institute for Research and Democratic Development is advancing women's political participation by engaging voters, candidates, and media in both counties, including 3 women contesting in Grangide. DI commends the NEC for delivering 413,050 ballots to Nima County and another 26,400 to Grangide District Number 1 on time. DI in a release said it will continue facilitating the next lessons learned process to help the NEC build upon its achievements and provide further technical assistance. President Joseph Boakai has hosted an assembly of members of the House of Representatives aligned with the rescue mission of the ruling Unity Party and a team of UP leaders and strategists to a one-day executive legislative agenda-setting retreat in Tottenburg, Bomi County at the weekend. The convergence was to compare notes on crafting a more coordinated and effective path to pursuing critical national development goals. Opening the session of the Bomi City at the Bomi City Hall, President Boakai highlighted critical themes in the agricultural rule of law, education, sanitation, and tourism arrest agenda, which he said needed to be vigorously pursued by proper messaging and the encouragement of other legislators to support the cause of nation building. The Liberian president and UP political leaders stressed the need for coordinated and more purposeful working relationship, which will engender wider support for the realization of its targets. He reminded his audience that the arrest agenda is not a hidden agenda, but one that is open for all, and an agenda aimed at taking Liberians out of poverty to prosperity. The working session brought together more than 20 members of the House of Representatives as they spent hours deliberating on approaches and methods of pushing key points in the legislative agenda as well as a lineup of other development goals of the government. At the close of the full-day session, the participants signed and issued a joint resolution reflecting their decisions. The resolution signed by representatives of the 3 parties declared that the arrest agenda is the best suited and in sync with the national development demands of our time. They further averred that they see collaboration, consultation, and a sense of common purpose as the most reliable and effective means by which the arrest agenda can be achieved. Representative Richard Kuhn of the House signed for members of the Rescue Legislative Caucus present, while Acting Minister of State for Presidential Affairs Samuel Steve Koya signed for the administration. The Civil Society's Network of Liberia has welcomed a decision by Supreme Court Justice in Chimos Yusuf Kaba to have declined to issue the writ of certiorari filed by Spoon Network former CEO Stanton Witherspoon against the ruling of Civil Law Court Judge Kennedy Peabody in the damages for slander and libel case filed against him by former Legislative Deputy Director Wilmot Smith. According to the network, the writ filed by Spoon Network former CEO was an undercutting ploy intended to deny or evade justice. CSNL in a release stated that during the hearing of the case, it was discovered that Spoon TV obtained a fraudulent bond and misled the court, as the insurance company indicated by Spoon TV as the issuer of the bond filed a bill of information informing the court that it did not issue the bond, as the company does not issue indemnity bond. Judge Peabody then rendered the bond fraudulent and requested Spoon TV to file its valid bond within 3 days, at which time Mr. Witherspoon filed a writ of certiorari before the justice in chambers to stop enforcement from the lower court. Having reviewed the lower court's decision, the network believes Justice Yusuf Kaba's decision to decline issuing the alternative of certiorari filed by Mr. Witherspoon and the Spoon TV is in the interest of justice. The Civil Society Network notes that it is highly condemnable for Stanton Witherspoon to continuously use his Spoon TV as an avenue to make false claims intended to malign the reputation of prominent individuals and institutions. The CSO said it is convinced that this case will serve as a precedent in discouraging Mr. Witherspoon from using his media network as a surrogate to damage the hard-earned reputation of persons and institutions. Meanwhile, the Civil Society Network of Liberia calls on Judge Golda Bona Elliott to immediately resume hearing into the damages for slander and libel case filed against Mr. Stanton Witherspoon and his Spoon TV has been dated by the Supreme Court Justice in Chambers. The Female Journalists Association of Liberia President Lisa Diase is urging organizational leaders to lead with compassion, humility, and a deep commitment to the principles of fairness and inclusiveness. Serving as guest speaker at the OKFN fan club induction ceremony at the weekend, the Fijal president also called on the new leadership to embrace diversity, encourage dialogue, and strive to create a space where every voice is valued and respected. Madam Diase, a renowned public speaker, media developer, and owner, told the leadership headed by its president, Bendu Dono, to collectively work tirelessly to uphold the legacy of the fan club to ensure that its impact continues to resonate far and wide across Liberia. Delivering her inauguration address, the president of the OKFN fan club, Bendu Dono, pledged to uphold the guiding principles of the institution, foster unity, and lead to transparency and accountability in the interest of her colleagues. The Monrovia City Corporation Director of Press and Public Affairs, Bekele Boakpe, is urging Senator Amara Kone to advocate for increased budgetary allocation towards addressing Monrovia's cleanliness and waste management challenges if he is honest that the city is filthy. Boakpe's comment comes in response to the Gbapolu County Senator's Sunday, April 21, 2024 post on his official Facebook page in which he said he is a big hip-hop music fan and not a fan of dirt. Senator Connor expressed grave concerns over what he termed as accumulating garbage on Monrovia streets. Reacting to this statement under the same post, the MCC head of communications initially thanked Senator Amara Kone for acknowledging Monrovia filthiness, but termed the situation as an old age problem. He also called on the lawmaker to importantly shift the discussion beyond just mere acknowledgement of the garbage challenges in Monrovia and delve broader into the root causes and potential remedies for effective and sustainable waste management. Well, listeners, on that note, that's how we conclude the bulletin, the news bulletin. Let's now return you to Jutonu Kollie for the continuation of the Prime News Run.
Let me say many thanks to you, Trojan and Kiazolu, for the reading of the news bulletin here on Prime 105.5, Liberia Premiered News program here in Liberia. Straight into the news now. The African Court on Human and People's Rights engaged Liberian authorities, civil society, and various stakeholders in the human rights sector as part of its sensitization mission on the significance of the court's establishment in the country. The president of the African Court on Human and People's Rights, Justice Imani Ado, said the delegation is in Liberia to lobby Liberian key government officials and human rights actors to take a decisive step towards both the ratification and declaration of the code.
Liberia has stood as a beacon of hope in the struggle for human and people's rights in Africa. As we sit in the shadow of such giants, let us be reminded of their legacy that calls on each of us to uphold the values of justice, equity, respect of human rights, and human dignity. Our gathering here is not merely ceremonial, but a reaffirmation of our collective resolve to uphold the rule of law and to nurture the seeds of justice that have been sown by those who came before us. Liberia's commitment to the rule of law is evident in its adherence to international treaties and its own progressive legal frameworks that safeguard human rights. In recent times, Liberia has made commendable strides in strengthening its democratic institutions, promoting gender equality and ensuring accountability and transparency. These efforts resonate with the African Court's mission to enhance the protection of human rights on the continent. I'm encouraged by the unwavering dedication of the Liberian government and its institutions as they endeavor to create a society where the rule of law is the cornerstone of the governance. Excellencies and distinguished participants, the African Court on Human and People's Rights envisions the establishment of a robust partnership with the nation's courts, ensuring that the jurisprudence we develop does not simply set precedents but is actively used to shape national laws and policies.
Meanwhile, the chairperson of the Independent National Commission on Human Rights, Councillor Denstor Brown, has expressed hope that the government of Liberia will ratify the protocol establishing the African Code on Human and People's Rights to allow individuals and non-governmental institutions have direct access to the court.
As you may be aware, the court system is intended to give due process to individuals that are being accused of crimes. This African Court, of which we are here today, is intended to protect the rights of the Africans, similar to that of the Independent National Human Rights Commission that was established to also protect the citizens of Liberia. As you may be aware, Liberia is a member of the Committee of Nations, so we are obligated to do what is right. Liberia is a nation that is not of man, but it is a nation that believes in the rule of law. If in the past we have had problem with the disrespect for the rule of law, now we believe that we must comply to respect the rights of everyone, whether you are alien or Liberian, that live here. Now, the African Court has its intended purpose to protect the Africans. The problem that we have, of which the president and the vice president came to Liberia, has to do with the ratification of the instrument, the protocol. Liberia signed the protocol for this court, but reluctant to ratify the protocol.
He is the chairperson of the Independent National Commission on Human Rights, Councillor Denstor Brown. They are expressing hope that the government of Liberia will ratify the protocol establishing the African Court on Human and People's Rights. And then you heard the voice of the president of the court, Justice Imani Abel. They were all in the country raising awareness on the establishment of the court. The executive officer of the Africa Coast to Europe Cable, Liberia's only source of internet connectivity, has assured Liberians and foreign residents that the AS cable will shortly be restored to its full capacity to provide quality internet in the region. According to Henry Benson, the ACE network operation teams were able to provide limited internet capacity to Liberia through Banjul, the Gambia, to enforce the cable break in Abidjan. He's been speaking with a team of journalists in Monrovia the weekend.
We want to assure the general public that repair work has already begun on the breakage of the ACE cable. So at the moment, we are lucky to be utilizing a redundant link that connects us via Sierra Leone, Guinea, Gambia, and then Senegal. We also understand that because of the long path from Liberia to Senegal, there are high latency of time, quality of service becomes an issue. But once our primary link that connects us to ACE via Abidjan is repaired, we will get back to status quo. ACE is working around the clock. We are working with our partners in making sure that all repair work is done and that we begin again to enjoy the full benefit of what the ACE cable provides to Liberia. That is to have good internet service. So bear with us. We're doing everything in making sure that this happens.
The Chief Executive Officer of the African Coast to Europe Cable, the only source of internet connectivity here in Liberia, his name is Henry Benson. They're assuring Liberians and those residing in the country that the ACE cable will shortly be restored to provide quality internet services across the country. Liberia's information minister says President Joseph Numa Boakai is expected to make determination into a resolution passed by both houses of the legislature and forwarded to the president on the establishment of the World and Economic Crimes Court in Liberia. Here is Information Minister Gerald Lime Matthew Pia addressing the Minister of Information regular press briefing.
We know there's been much said about accountability, even though some of our actors have chosen to decide where accountability should take place and where it should not. They sometimes describe some of the steps towards accountability as witch hunt, but at the same time they embrace other interventions. There's been much talk about how people should account for what took place in Liberia during the war. And we've seen steps towards ensuring that there is accountability for war and economic crimes that were committed or allegedly committed. The national legislature, both houses, agree on a resolution. That resolution has been forwarded to the President, His Excellency President Boakai. He is currently doing a review of what they've submitted, and sometimes next week, the determination will be made. We will organize a very big event, and at that event, the President's action on the resolution that has been passed by the national legislature will be known.
Meanwhile, the Information Minister, Jared Limepia, is encouraging dismissed agents of the Executive Protection Service, the EPS, claiming illegal dismissals should seek legal redress through the court instead of engaging into illegal protests and terrorist threats against the state.
On your question you asked about the EPS, I certainly do not have the details, but if you term your dismissal as illegal, it means you subscribe to the law. It is an inherent contradiction to be arguing about illegality, but at the same time making a vow to do something that is illegal. When you say you will give the country a better Liberia, but at the same time complaining about being dismissed illegally, it's a kind of contradiction. But the only thing I can say as a spokesperson of the government is the government has the authority to protect lives and property. The government will ensure at all times that security prevails. So if you have a concern about something you think is illegal, we want to encourage you to address that act of illegality, quote, through the legal means. If you seek to do so in an illegal way and there's a breach of the law, you can be assured that the law will take its course. And make no mistake, no one, absolutely no one, has the authority to say to the rest of the 5-point-some million people living in the country that you will create for them what you call data Liberia.
Liberia's Information Minister Jerry Limipia addressing the Ministry of Information regular press briefing at the weekend. The chairman of the Elder Council of Kongbat Development Association of Bapodo County, the Reverend Joseph Aman, is calling on President Joseph Numa Boakai to immediately withdraw the appointment of Melvin Marat as administrative officer of Baman Statutory District in Bapodo County. According to Reverend Joseph Aman, the call for Melvin Maran is due to his alleged rude behavior against citizens and elders of the council and citizens of Bapodo County.
Attention has been drawn to an issue that has to do with a particular appointment made by the president of late. And of course, I'm convinced beyond all reasonable doubt that the president made this appointment as a result of the recommendation of Senator Boto Kana as well as Senator Amara Kone. But as far as I know, the president will always seek the advice of the two key personalities of each county, of each sub-political division, the two senators. And he recommended a particular young man. And this young man is referred to as Marvin Mara, and he was appointed as administrative officer of Bama Statutory District. From the coffee hill from Komba, in fact from the same village that I also come from. But I have concern, and the concern I have as far as the appointment of this young man is concerned, I as follow. Number one, the young man Marvin Mara in question cannot even recognize the first alphabet. He doesn't know A and B. So in my mind, I'm wondering how can someone serve and be effective and functional when they come to serving as administrative officer, and as far as from the look of the government leadership is concerned, someone must reach certain qualification in order to serve in certain capacity. And so as far as I'm concerned, this man is not qualified. Besides the issue of education, this young man also has an issue of an immoral and unethical character. He doesn't respect anybody on the face of this earth.
The Reverend Joseph Aman is the chairman of the Elders Council of Kongbat Development Association in Bapodo County, calling on President Joseph Numa Boakai to immediately withdraw the appointment of Melvin Marad as administrative officer of Bama Statutory District in Bapodo County. Female Journalists Association of Liberia's President Lisa Darcy is urging organizational leaders to lead with compassion, humility, and a deep commitment to the principles of fairness and inclusiveness. Serving as guest speaker at the OKFM Fan Club induction ceremony at the weekend, the featured president, Lisa Darcy, also called on the new leadership to embrace diversity, encourage dialogue, and strive to create a space where every voice is valued and respected. I'm told that Lisa Darcy is yet to be ready. Let's get on to this now. Delivering her inaugural address, the president of the OKFM Fan Club, Bendu Dono, pledged to uphold the guiding principles of the institution, foster unity, and lead with transparency and accountability in the interests of her colleagues.
My election as president recognizes the vital significance of women participation in leadership roles. Empowering women in leadership does not only foster diversity, but also enhances the overall strength and resilience of the people. As we move this forward in our nation, let us recognize the potential that lacks in inclusive leadership, where the voices and views of women contribute to shaping a more equitable and prosperous future for all. And that is why I am projecting a new vision for the face of OKFM. The face of OKFM honor our leadership. We continue to uphold the values and constitution of the club and maintain respect for government authority. Accountability and transparency will be the hallmark of our administration. We want to assure you that nothing will be done in secret without the knowledge of the things. Our work will be transparent and everyone will stand accountable for what they do. Our government will work to promote and expand the things of OKFM by establishing sub-chapters in other areas where the OKFM radio signal is available. To make our fan club more valuable and efficient and up to date with happiness around the world, we will create linkages to network and partner with other institutions, both local and international, that will help promote our work and increase our capacity to function as a club and make impactful contributions to the OKFM radio station.
The new president of the OKFM fan club, Benu Dono, there speaking when she was officially inducted in office at the UN. A new company in the health sector, the New Life Group International Pharmaceutical and Laboratory Corporation, has been officially launched in the country. Dr. Catherine Thomas Cooper, who proceeded for Health Minister Dr. Louis Poto, commended the management of the new pharmaceutical and laboratory company for investing in the pharmaceutical sector of the country.
As a ministry, we think it's a very commendable initiative considering the challenges that we have in our pharmaceutical sector in Nigeria. We have numerous challenges both in the public and the private sector, and we see the initiative being taken by Nigerians to be something that we must applaud. For a country to improve, it is the citizens of that country that must improve that country. So it is Nigerians who must improve Nigeria. We have seen that being done in many countries throughout Africa. Countries that today we want to at least copy after those countries like Kenya, Rwanda, Ethiopia. We see that it is the citizens that are improving the countries, citizens in the diaspora that have gone back and invested into those countries that today we see them meeting all of the hallmarks internationally. So as Nigerians, we want to commend people that have thought it wise to come back to Nigeria to invest.
In remarks, the Chief Executive Officer of the New Life Group International Pharmaceutical and Laboratory Corporation, the Reverend Seth Taylor, explained that the company would ensure that its supplies reach all regions in the country. According to him, apart from the production of medicines, the company will also engage in constructing and equipping laboratories in the health sector of the country.
It is our hope and our dream that those of you who live here, that no Liberian should have to be flown out of Liberia because they can't find medicine when they are sick. There should be no reason that a Liberian, no matter what sector of life they come from, that they should die because they can't afford the medical drugs. And our goal for New Life Group Pharmaceutical Laboratory is to bring the quality of care in the medical drugs in sanctuary that will bring life to our people. And so we are very thankful for those medical practitioners that have volunteered their time.
The Reverend Seth Taylor is the Chief Executive Officer of the New Life Group International Pharmaceutical and Laboratory Corporation, a new company in the health sector being launched in the country. A political commentator, Abdullah Kiatama, has predicted a complete failure of the president, Joseph Numa Bwaga 100 days delay rules. Here is Abdullah Kiatama, the speaking.
But they go on the street, invite themselves, they go back inside. And then try to stay. So they act before they think. So all of that. And I also think it's issue of when we have followed the explanation at the airport. I think the justification was wrong. So they have been a lot of distance. But they also been a lot of good things. The issues of one-time court. It was a bold initiative that the government basically sponsored and supported the issue of one-time court. I think it was a good step. If they started from an asset recovery, it's a brilliant idea. Because I think those who want and benefited from the broken democracy in which themselves are expensive to people must give account for their role. Must tell us how the living opulence and extravagance and expense of the blood and tears and treasure of ordinary people have a responsibility to explain their stewardship, their management of resources. That shall be hospitals and all of that. So I think all of that is really now. I'm also the quality of appointments that goes I think there's some areas of concern, but the quality of appointments that goes the other issue is the external relations with the US and major partners. They have built a lot more robust, solid relationship. I think on those accounts, I would give one administration a moderate school. Now, high school and a low school, but a moderate school is between. We still have to go for the 100 days. I think one of the areas we give you a group, they give area of communication, telling us where the 100 days status is, where things are, and where we are. If moving to our destination, we want a sense of journey. A sense of journey will go down where it's like, are we on Broadway or are we on Carey Street? When they get down, they go to the corner, they want to know where we're at now. We're not going to get close to somebody's close, somebody benchmark. So I think that is the nature of the situation. The other one.
A political commentator here in Liberia, Abdullah Kiatama, there speaking. Folks, on that note, that's how we draw the curtains on the early presentation of Prompt News Run. This is a production of the News and Current Affairs Department here at Prompt Communications Network Incorporated from Benson Street here in Monrovia, Liberia. These are the big stories we've been following in our headlines. The African Court on Human and People's Rights increases awareness on the significance of the court as a delegation led by its president, Justice Imani Abud, lobbies top government officials and human rights actors to ratify the protocol for the establishment of the court in Liberia. President Joseph Numa Bwaga hosts assembly of members of the House of Representatives aligned with Unity Party's rescue mission and team of UP leaders and strategists at a one-day executive legislative agenda setting retreat in Turbanburg, Bomi County. And also they heard in the news, the Africa Coast to Europe cable, the ACE cable, Liberia's only source of internet connectivity, to be fully restored. Chief Executive Officer Henry Benson discloses the team is working assiduously to repair the damages being caused. And away from whom, at least 58 people have died in the Central African Republic after the overcrowded ferry carrying them capsized. Officials have told the BBC, fighting over disputed land along borders of Ethiopia's Tigray and Amhara regions has displaced close to 29,000 people. The United Nations says. Let me say many thanks to you for watching and listening. Thanks to all of our reporters, our editors, and correspondents for ensuring the success of this Monday, April 22, 2024 edition of News Run. Trojan, Kiazolu was here with our latest news bulletin here from the News Center. And let me say many thanks to Rufus Devan Bruce Jr. and Theophilus Davin for handling the technical aspect of this morning's presentation. Further, on behalf of the team here at Brand Communications, I'm Jutonu Kollie. Thanks for listening and watching. Good morning.